Governor Newsom demanding answers from the DOJ following a Freedom of Information Act request for records tied to what he calls a politically motivated investigation into him and his wife. Sources say the probe might be related to first partner Jennifer Siebel Newsom's taxes and stem from a whistleblower complaint. All this, as we are now learning, Newsom last week agreed to pay a $31,000 fine after failing to report in a timely manner millions in charitable donations made on his behalf.
With more, we are joined by civil rights attorney Lisa Bloom and Red State managing editor Jen Van Laar. Jen, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. Jen, let's start with you. There is still a lot that we don't know about this purported investigation, but you've been covering the Newsoms and their finances for quite some time. What have you found that might shed light on these probes?
Well, I know that Jennifer Newsom created an LLC back in November of 2024, which purchased their $9.1 million mansion in Marin County. That LLC, her parents are also part of, and it took out a $6.5 million mortgage for the home, which obviously there's nothing wrong with that, except that the mortgage payments on that and their Sacramento home and all of their other reported expenses far exceed what they claim as income on their taxes.
All right, so it sounds like a lot of money. Jen, Lisa, what's your response to Jen's reporting and to what we've been learning, although we've not learned a lot about this case so far?
Well, this obviously seems politically motivated and is in line with the Trump DOJ's investigation of other political opponents like Mark Kelly, Jim Comey, Letitia James, Jerome Powell, E. Jean Carroll. I mean, this is just what he does. And the DOJ would not normally care about a relatively small settlement of $31,000. That's not the kind of thing that federal law enforcement typically cares about. So it seems obvious to me he's just going after the wife of his political opponent, the Democrat who speaks out most often against Trump. And I think that's disgusting.
Well, Lisa, you mentioned it, that the undertaking politically motivated investigation, setting probes on Jerome Powell, James Comey, and others. But if there is a crime committed, is that weaponization?
Well, I'm waiting to hear what the crime is. It sounds like a fishing expedition. There's already been a settlement of a very small amount. So what is the issue? Or are we just out there looking for something? I mean, the reports are that that DOJ investigators are talking to people who knew the Newsoms. It sounds like they're just trying to find something. You know, they could issue subpoenas for the financial documents if they wanted to. And so far, it doesn't sound like they have enough for probable cause.
Jen, we know the president has long rallied about what he often refers to as these witch hunts against him. So what do you say to those who claim that he is now weaponizing the government, especially as sources are telling CNN that a whistleblower report might have actually triggered this probe?
Well, we don't know that this investigation has anything to do with the FPPC settlement for the $31,000. What the indications are is that it has to do with Jennifer Newsom's finances and her nonprofits. We also know that Dana Williamson has been convicted or has pled guilty to wire fraud, tax fraud. She's going to be sentenced in July. And as part of that long investigation, there were wiretaps and other surveillance mechanisms that Newsom's communications would have been subject to. So even if Williamson didn't give any information to prosecutors, they still could have come across information during that probe that they're developing separately.
Lisa, do you have a response?
I mean, coulda, shoulda, woulda. At this point, we just don't know. What we do know is that Trump has repeatedly engaged in politically motivated investigations. And by the way, our tax dollars are going to this to fund Trump's campaign of grievance and retribution. And I think most of us don't want that. They want the government out there solving problems for ordinary people, not spending our money fighting amongst one another.
Okay, Jen, let's get to that Freedom of Information Act request. Newsom calling for, quote, any and all records of the Trump DOJ's politically motivated, baseless fishing expedition that includes communications he wants from Trump, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, and others. Your response.
We'll talk about using taxpayer dollars for something they shouldn't be used for. This is Newsom's personal legal issue, and he's using our taxpayer dollars for that FOIA request for a 3-page letter that he just sent today, this evening, blaming this investigation on right-wing operatives and sites. And sorry, that is not taxpayers' problem. We have real problems in California. We have an entire city that burned down. We have so many things going on, and he's wasting his time making up websites with people that Trump pardoned that he doesn't agree with, using taxpayer dollars for that.
Well, it doesn't take much taxpayer dollars to do a FOIA request. As a practicing attorney, I could crank that out in about 10 minutes, and all the government has to do is gather the documents electronically and hit send. So that's very different than the DOJ having human beings who are on the government payroll out there day after day investigating the wife of his primary political opponent. That's much more significant expenditure of taxpayer dollars.
Lisa, let's talk about why the governor came out with this social media post on Monday, stepping up to the podium. A lot of people thought it came out of nowhere. Why do you think the governor wanted to get out in front of this? And there are so few specifics right now, so a lot of people are just speculating. Why did he do this?
Well, because he's probably outraged that his wife is being investigated. Jen Siebel Newsom has been an advocate for women's rights. She calls herself the first partner. I salute that. She's had a nonprofit that's done documentaries about sexism, and she's trying to advance the cause of women's rights, something that I have also devoted my life to. I mean, this is a woman who is really admirable, and he is her husband. He cares that she's being investigated. And I'm sure he feels that it's because he's the governor. It's because he's the number one, Trump critic in the country. He's considering a run for president. That's what he said. And he says, keep my wife out of it. You can come after me, but leave my family alone. And I think most of us agree that the families of people in politics should be off limits.
So, Jen, your thoughts? I mean, why do you think that Newsom decided to come out now?
Well, I think he's trying to get ahead of something. And the fact that he's just been so over the top with his response to this today after that FOIA request, then following that up with a 3-page letter, that he's really spooked about something. And I take issue with Jen Siebel Newsom being labeled as a defender of women when Eric Swalwell was accused of rape by many people, and she didn't come out and even acknowledge that. She didn't come out and condemn him. And so to just say that she's been doing all this great work on behalf of women, I take issue.
Well, as somebody who represented one of Swalwell's victims, we did a huge press conference and forced his resignation, even though I'm a Democrat. I don't see, Jen Newsom does not have to take up every cause for every person every day. She has devoted her life to fighting for women's equality. She's made wonderful films on the subject. And, I don't even understand that criticism. It's like saying somebody's cured cancer. Well, why didn't they deal with MS? I mean, this is what she has done with her life. I don't know what she said specifically about Swalwell, but I'm sure she does not support what he has done.
All right.
She didn't say anything.
As we wrap, quick final thoughts. Let's talk purely about politics. Leave the law aside. Who comes out on top here? Lisa, you first.
Well, I think Newsom, because he's a fighter, not only for all of us, but for his own wife. I mean, this is what we all want to see. We want him standing up, defending his family, pushing back against Trump, who has over and over again engaged in these campaigns of retribution. I mean, the Trump administration does not even deny it.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Jen, final word to you.
I don't know who's going to come out on top of this yet. I'm not going to make that prediction, but I don't think it's going to end well for Newsom.
All right, ladies, thank you so much. Civil rights attorney Lisa Bloom and Red State managing editor Jennifer Van Laar, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.